Hey guys, Level Cap here, and welcome to This Week in Gaming, your weekly news recap on everything going on in the world of video games. This week we got some fresh Battlefield leaks on a map with jets. Tariffs look like they could really start impacting your gaming choices. EA canceled yet another Titanfall project, and much more. More gameplay footage from the most recent Battlefield Labs playtest leaked this week, showcasing a new mountain range map called Capstone. We also got a look at jet gameplay, more destruction, and an interesting update to wire-guided projectiles. Obviously, we can't show any of the leaked footage due to copyright stuff, but if you're a fan of Battlefield 1's atmosphere and Battlefield 4's multi-range map, the new gameplay looks pretty promising. The environment has a mixture of residential buildings and industrial complexes. Surrounding the map is a massive mountain range with snow blanketing the peaks. The jet gameplay reveals a pretty massive playable area, though this is not untypical for Battlefield games when it comes to aircraft. They usually get an extended out-of-bounds range. One thing that immediately stood out is that the wire-guided tow missiles seem to actually have a wire connection to them. These sorts of missiles typically have a physical connection between the launcher and the missile, but this seems like the first time that the wire has actually been rendered in a Battlefield game. This makes me wonder if they're going to employ more realistic wire-guided mechanics. Now, personally, this latest round of leaks is starting to get me a bit more excited for the game. The first batch looked fairly typical, things looked improved, but nothing particularly innovative. Really, the atmospherics of the latest round of leaked footage caught me off guard a bit, and it really does look like they're bringing in some of that Battlefield 1 talent, but in a modern military battlescape. That combination could be absolutely deadly and is starting to get me excited. Pricing around the electronics industry in the US is predicted to start skyrocketing soon due to the new tariff policy, but the impact is already starting to hit gamers. This week, Microsoft announced a price increase for their entire Xbox Series consoles lineup. The base models of the Series S and X are going from $300 to $380 and from $450 to $550. They also announced price increases for accessories like controllers and headsets. On top of all that, Microsoft says they'll be raising the price of select first-party titles to $80 this holiday season. PC case maker Hyte halted all shipments to the US because of tariffs. They were featured recently in a documentary by Gamers Nexus, with the host interviewing several PC case and peripheral manufacturers about the ongoing economic costs. In a nutshell, the tariffs made these already slim profit margins for case makers basically obsolete. The gaming peripheral brand 8-Bit Do is also halting shipments to the US due to the tariffs. Their game controllers and retro-inspired keyboards are some of the more popular budget-friendly options around. However, due to that budget-friendly nature, they just couldn't cut it with the profit margins. It's going to be really difficult for consumers to predict short-term and long-term pricing of tech hardware down the road. Do you buy now, or do you hope that the prices go down in the future and wait? It's really anyone's guess at this point, but I have a feeling the cost of gaming is about to go up, maybe permanently. The software side of the gaming industry continues to get hit as well. An estimated 200 to 300 EA employees were laid off this week, with 100 of them being let go by Respawn. On top of the layoffs, Respawn shut down 2 pre-production projects, a Titanfall extraction shooter and another unverified project. Sadly, this is at least the second major Titanfall project that Respawn have canceled, and it likely means that the franchise will live on exclusively through Apex Legends. Of course, Apex Legends didn't escape the layoffs unscathed either. The narrative designer who did the writing for the Battle Royale's best character got notice that they had been laid off the day after the main character was announced. This could be foreshadowing of a much bigger industry practice of getting contractors rather than employees across the board, and just hiring people on for the work that you need and letting them go as soon as that work is over. Sadly, this practice has been in play for decades in the game industry. As someone who's worked in QA before, this is exactly how QA teams were treated, hired for the job and fired as soon as it was over, but it looks like this practice is growing onto different ranks of the industry. Now, in some actually exciting news for the game industry, a judge just handed some huge wins for both Epic and mobile game developers. Back in 2020, Epic and Apple essentially took each other to court over Epic skirting the iOS App Store's ban on third-party transaction services for in-game purchases. In response, Apple banned Fortnite from the App Store and Epic launched their lawsuit. A 2020 ruling went mostly in Apple's favor, but one court went in Epic's favor, with the judge ruling that Apple had violated an unfair competition law. The result was that Apple must allow App Store developers to direct users to external payment systems that bypass the store's 30% take on all sales. This week, the same judge that made that ruling found Apple in contempt of it. The disregard for the original ruling was bad enough that the judge even recommended criminal charges be brought against Apple. All this is to say that it seems like Fortnite may finally return to the iOS App Store, and that App Store developers may eventually be able to cut some of those extremely costly fees from their bottom line. Epic has offered to drop all future litigation if Apple reinstates Fortnite. This is a huge win for developers across the board. It means that indie devs will be able to have healthier margins and invest more in games, and Epic is really doing a service for the industry to try and fight what is essentially the monopolization of digital distribution of software and games across mobile devices and, frankly, even PC platforms. Elden Ring hit an insane milestone this week, passing 30 million copies sold. For context, the entire Dark Souls franchise, which is From Software's main claim to fame, has sold a total of 37 million units since it first launched in 2011. To say Elden Ring has been a runaway success for the developer would be a massive understatement. The game is getting an official Switch 2 port sometime this year, which will likely keep its sales rolling on for many years to come. Rockstar announced Grand Theft Auto 6 will now launch on May 26, 2026. It was originally scheduled to launch sometime this year. Earlier in the week, Gearbox moved the Borderlands 4 release date up a week to September 12th. The company's CEO, Randy Pitchford, denied that the delay was due to Grand Theft Auto 6 pending launch. Gearbox and Rockstar Games are both owned by Take-Two Interactive, which fueled speculation that the parent company was moving release schedules around to avoid cannibalizing sales. Grand Theft Auto 6's launch could very well be the biggest launch in gaming history, so the release date's pretty important as everybody has to schedule around it. Upcoming arena shooter Splitgate 2 is getting an open beta test starting on the 22nd. The playtest will include major updates made based on player feedback from the previous open alpha playtest held last year. Players can expect more than 25 weapons, 15 or more maps, and 10 or more game modes to try out. It sounds like the devs could also be implementing some sort of procedural map generation, as the teaser for the upcoming playtest includes a line about infinite maps, though that's likely something to do with whatever community map editor the devs are building. The original Splitgate featured a custom map maker that allowed the community to add tons of custom-made maps to the game, so it's likely the sequel will feature a map maker as well. In a bit of crazy news, it sounds like the next StarCraft game might be developed by Nexon. They've reportedly entered into negotiations with Blizzard to secure the publishing rights for future entries in the franchise. Nexon might also be publishing an Overwatch mobile game in Japan and Korea. It's unclear how solid any of this info is. Much of it seems to be based on rumors or insider reporting, and nothing has been officially announced by either Nexon or Blizzard. In our final story this week, the second playtest for upcoming PvPvE extraction shooter Arc Raiders went live. Reviews are praising its environmental art and sound design as standout aspects, while the general combat and gameplay are getting more mixed or neutral reception. The playtest is currently available on both PC and consoles, though invites appear to be going out in waves. This playtest ends on the 4th. And if you're looking for more info and some live gameplay, check out my video on Arc Raiders next. It's got 25 minutes of live action across multiple matches with myself, Big Fry, and Operator Drewski. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop me a like, subscribe for more content like it, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.